Chapter 682. Before they trample me to death, I'll fuck you first. Qing Jinshin sized up Song Wuyo. Your face looks much prettier than hers. Song Wuyo gritted her teeth. If her limbs weren't tied up, she would have beaten him to death. With my ability, it's not impossible for me to make your child miscarry. Qing Jinshin turned around and said coldly to Qing Wanduo, get out. No one is allowed to come in without my permission. Qing Wanduo looked up and looked at Qing Jinshin expressionlessly. He didn't turn around and leave. Seeing her standing there like a statue, Qing Jinshin was a little impatient. He looked at her coldly. Didn't you hear what I said? Get out. Godfather, after I go out, what are you going to do to Mrs. Gu? Qing Wanduo asked. Qing Jinshin was immersed in his own demon world and didn't notice the change in Qing Wanduo's expression. Of course, I'm going to tie her up tightly, take off her clothes, and do what I did to the First Lady back then. She's pregnant, and she's Mrs. Gu. If young Master Gu finds out, he won't let you off. Him. I've already sent people to kill him. Isn't he still alive? He's still injured. I won't let him return to K Country alive. But Mrs. Gu's identity has a lot of influence in K Country. If they find out that you killed her and the child in her guts, they'll take revenge on you. Motherfucker, do they dare? I'll kill whoever dares. Qing Jinshin suddenly shouted at Qing Wanduo, get out. Qing Wanduo walked over. Qing Wanduo looked at him maliciously. Qing Wanduo, I told you to get out. I'm afraid not, Qing Wanduo said lightly. Qing Jinshin was stunned. He raised his eyebrows and looked at Qing Wanduo unhappily. What do you mean? Godfather, go to the window and take a look. Qing Jinshin thought that the people had come to protest again. His eyes turned cold. He walked to the window and pulled open the curtains. When he ran to the window, Qing Wanduo took out a military knife and slashed at Song Wuyo's hands and feet. The tightly tied rope instantly loosened. Song Wuyo's wrist hurt and numb from being tied for too long. She rubbed her wrist and looked at Qing Wanduo. Was he trying to save her? How could this be? Qing Jinshin suddenly shouted. In front of the dragon palaces was a very wide square. It's usually used for military parade and training. The square was surrounded by tall buildings used for national offices. In front of the building, there was a large screen that could be used to broadcast national events and various international news. At this time, the big screens in those buildings were broadcasting the situation here. On the screen, Qing Wanduo was helping Song Wuyo to untie the rope. Qing Jinshin was angry. He turned around and shouted at Qing Wanduo, what the hell is going on? Moreover, many people had gathered in the square. Qing Wanduo looked at him indifferently. This office is installed with surveillance cameras. From the moment you came in until now, everything has been recorded. It's also connected to the internet. Now, not only are the screens in the square broadcasting it, but also the players on the internet are broadcasting it. Qing Wanduo thought for a moment and muttered, nowadays, these people like to call it live streaming. Yes, that's right, live streaming. When Qing Jinshin heard this, his face changed. He stared at Qing Wanduo with bloodthirsty eyes. Installed with surveillance cameras. Who installed it? Chapter 683. Qing Wanduo cut the rope that bound Su Jing, who was still unconscious, and said faintly, me. What did you say? Qing Jinshin almost flew into a rage when he heard that. He was so angry that his whole body trembled. Qing Wanduo, you betrayed me. He pointed at Qing Wanduo with a ferocious expression as if he wanted to eat Qing Wanduo. Seeing Qing Wanduo untie Su Jing, he was so angry that he pounced on him. Suddenly, Qing Wanduo took out a pistol from his waist coolly and pointed it at Qing Jianxin. Qing Jianxin froze when he saw that. He stood there and looked at Qing Wanduo viciously. You were bribed by Gu Yanhao? No. Qing Wanduo smiled coldly. No one bribed me. Then why did you do it? After you came to power, you killed Ban Dechang's wife and her family. What's your relationship with them? Qing Wanduo sneered. They're distant relatives. I want to call Ban Dekang uncle. You're not Qing Hong's daughter. Qing Jianxin was so angry that his neck became thick. Yes, but you don't know who Qing Hong's wife is. Of course, you don't know who she is. She died when I was only a few years old. I raised an ingrate. Didn't Ban Dekang raise an ingrate too? He's simply inviting a wolf into the house. You want to get close to me at such a young age. Is it for revenge? No. Qing Wanduo shook his head. I don't have the ability to take revenge. If I didn't gain your trust, how could I get so much evidence from you? What did you say? Qing Jianxin hit him again. He was about to break down. I gave all the evidence of your crimes to them. They, who are they? Of course it's Gu Yanhao. Oh, and many others. Qing Jianxin heard that and seemed to have seen something terrible. He stared at Qing Wanduo. What kind of information did you give them? Qing Wanduo smiled flirtatiously. Evidence of killing Ban Dekang and his father-in-law, as well as having your special assistant kidnap a college student to your private villa. Is that a crime? Qing Wanduo, you're crazy. Qing Jianxin suddenly shouted. How am I crazy? Qing Wanduo smiled. You're the crazy one. Also, you were afraid that Gu Jinhao, the male lead's father, would support young Master Gu to become the king of the country. You killed the couple when they went abroad. Is that a crime? Rumor has it that the Mu family has evidence to prove that you killed Ban Dekang, so you decided to convict the Mu family and cause their downfall. Is this considered a crime? Motherfucker, Qing Wanduo, I trained you to be an assassin, and you actually turned around and bit me. You trained me to be an assassin so that I could kill people for you. Sigh. Qing Wanduo sighed. I don't want to be an assassin now. I want to wash my hands of it and pursue my love. I want to kill you. Before he could finish his sentence, Qing Wanduo suddenly raised his gun and looked at him coldly. Don't come over. If you dare to come over, I'll shoot you. You think you can escape from here after killing me? Now, everyone in the country is watching this video. If you kill me, you'll be committing a crime, Qing Jianxin said. Kill you? That's really a crime. Qing Wanduo smiled. Actually, you're the one who can't escape from here. Just as Qing Wanduo finished his words, the door of the office opened. A group of people came in from outside. When Qing Jianxin saw them, he was stunned and his eyes widened in fear. Chapter 684. The people who came were the most authoritative staff in the Dragon Palace. Moreover, there were also the guards and bodyguards of the Dragon Palace. The guards and bodyguards were all carrying rifles and standing there solemnly. One of the men who was about the same age as Qing Jianxin came forward and looked at Qing Jianxin sharply. Qing Jianxin, you can't escape. You have to pay for what you've done. Why are you arresting me? I'm the king, the emperor. Qing Jianxin suddenly lost control of his emotions and pointed at everyone with a ferocious face. You have to listen to me. Listen to me. Catch him. The man said sternly. The guards and bodyguards outside walked in and quickly surrounded Qing Jianxin. The muzzles were all pointed at him. Facing so many muzzles, Qing Jianxin did not dare to move. He was handcuffed and did not dare to resist. He stared at Song Wuyo with a murderous gaze and said through gritted teeth, "I won't let you off even if I become a ghost." Song Wuyo frowned slightly. She did not seem to have done anything wrong. Why did Qing Jinshin hate her so much? Was it because she was Ban Dechang's daughter? Qing Jinshin was taken away. When he passed by Qing Wanduo, he stopped in his tracks. He looked at Qing Wanduo coldly. "You will die a horrible death. If I have the chance, I will end your life with my own hands." Qing Wanduo looked at him with a faint smile. "You'd better think about how to save your own life." At this time, was there any point in saying such useless words? After Qing Jinshin was taken away, the serious man walked to Song Wuyo and said politely, "Mrs. Gu, I've frightened you. Are you okay?" Song Wuyo smiled gently and said, "I'm fine. I've received news from the international side. Master Gu will be sent to M City tomorrow." "Thank you. I didn't expect you to be Mr. Ban's daughter." Song Wuyo smiled. "My father didn't disclose my identity to the public because he wanted to protect me." Song Wuyo did not want to say that she was Guijier and Ban Dechang's daughter. She did not know how they would look at Ban Dekang. "I heard that you reunited with your brother Jianing," the man asked. Song Wuyo nodded. "Yes. It's a pity that he was frightened back then, so he's very introverted." "Alas." The man sighed deeply. "Of course, we work with Mr. Ban, it's very exciting." The Ban family was suddenly attacked. "We all know that someone did it on purpose, but we don't have any evidence. Now that all the cases have come to light, we will give Mr. Ban an explanation." The other big shots also stepped forward and comforted Song Wuyo one after another. In the end, Magoo rushed to the scene and looked at Song Wuyo in a panic. He asked nervously, "He didn't do anything to you, did he?" Song Wuyo chuckled. "Did he do anything to me? Didn't you guys see the video?" Looking at her swollen left cheek, Magoo's heart ached. If there were not so many people at the scene, he really wanted to use his hand to gently caress her face so that she would not be in so much pain. "Your face is so swollen. If Ah-ho comes back, he will definitely blame me for not protecting you all," Magoo said helplessly. "He will only arrive in M City tomorrow. The swelling will go down by then." Song Wuyo was very excited at the thought of being able to meet Gu Yanhao. "Mr. Magoo," Mrs. Gu was frightened. "To prevent the baby from being affected, you should quickly send her to the hospital," the man said to Magoo. Magoo nodded. "Okay." Chapter 685. Magoo nodded. "Okay." He turned around and took a look at Su Jing, who was still unconscious on the sofa. He raised his eyebrows. This woman was like a pig. She did not even know what happened when she was chopped. Magoo looked at Qing Wanduo coldly. "Please send her back to Wuyo's mansion." After that, he took Song Wuyo away in front of everyone. Qing Wanduo looked at Su Jing coldly. Was she so heavy-handed? Song Wuyo had woken up a long time ago, but she was still unconscious. Qing Wanduo walked over and kicked Su Jing roughly. "Stupid woman, wake up, dot. You're not going to wake up." Qing Wanduo used his hand to pinch Su Jing's philtrum. "Ah." Su Jing woke up from the pain. She opened her eyes and saw Qing Wanduo. She was shocked. "Where is my miss?" "Dead." "Ah." The video of Song Wuyo being kidnapped by Qing Jinshin to the Dragon Palace and he wanted to rape her went viral on the internet. The conversation between Qing Jinshin, Song Wuyo, and Qing Wanduo was very clear, and the netizens heard it clearly. The whole country was shocked. Song Wuyo was President Ban Dechang's daughter. She was an aristocrat. Because of this, more people worshipped her. When Ban Dakhang was the president, other than having an affair with Guijier, he had been honest and upright all his life. When Ban Dakhang got together with Guijier, it was because she took the initiative to confess to him. He was interested in this courageous girl and fell in love with her. After they got married, he was even more touched by his wife's tolerance and magnanimity. After that, he started to treat his wife wholeheartedly. During the years when Guijier lived in Ban Dachang's residence, he did not fall in love with her and did not do anything to betray his wife. Apart from this shameful relationship, Ban Dakhang treated his people really well. Pensions, poor households, 5 guaranteed households, orphanages, nursing homes, medical institutions, rural foundations, and so on were all managed and experienced with great care. The tax system was also very considerate. Their relations with foreign countries were also very good. Those foreign countries respected the powerful K country very much. However, he was murdered. After Qing Jianxin took office, all the projects had to be changed. Raising taxes, reducing pensions, and extending the pension from 20 years to 25 years. When Ban Dakhang was in power, he didn't need to spend money to see a doctor. When Qing Jianxin took office, he had to pay. Moreover, the children's medical fees had been increased by 2 points, which made many parents anxious. He had taken advantage of this point to raise the fees when the child was sick and the parents had no choice but to do so. Could it be that he would let his child die of illness? They had never given subsidies to agriculture, nor had they given funds to nursing homes and orphanages. This made the people of Korea very angry, but there was nothing they could do. He was the president. The people only had hatred, but they didn't dare to vent it. However, now that they knew that Qing Jianxin was the one who killed Ban Dakhang and wanted to kill the daughter and son he left behind, they were going crazy. They blocked the entrance of hell and the court every day, shouting that Qing Jianxin should be shot immediately. Qing Jianxin had committed a crime and stepped down. Qing Jianping's family was also implicated. Qing Jianping was removed from his official position and had the same status as an ordinary person. Qing Jianping was still fine. He didn't leave any evidence of his crimes and wasn't resisted. However, because of Qing Jianxin and Qing Junhua, he was now like a rat on the street. Everyone wanted to beat him up. His 2 sons were still fine. Perhaps because Qing Junhua had kidnapped and threatened Guijier, the people still sympathized with them. Chapter 686. It's so sad to have such a brother. Now that Qing Jianxin had stepped down, the people were looking forward to Gu Yanhao becoming their president. The country had not even held the presidential election, and they were already shouting that they wanted to vote for Gu Yanhao. This news spread throughout the country in just half a day. Seeing the people supporting Gu Yanhao so enthusiastically, Song Wuyo felt that the time she spent with Gu Yanhao was worth it. After returning to Wu Yu's mansion from the Dragon Palace, Ban Jianing rushed up and hugged Song Wuyo tightly. "Sister." Ban Jianing choked. "I'm fine." "Qing Jianxin, that bastard." Ban Jianing scolded. Song Wuyo was shocked and pushed Ban Jianing out of her arms. Ban Jianing's eyes were filled with tears. Song Wuyo looked at him. "Jianing, you've..." Ban Jianing held Song Wuyo's hand tightly. His fingertips were trembling. "At that time, I was playing hide-and-seek with Dad. I hid under the bed. Dad came in and couldn't find me. Later, Qing Jianxin came and talked to Dad. Dad seemed to have forgotten about the hide-and-seek with me." Song Wuyo looked at Ban Jianing in surprise. He remembered. "I saw with my own eyes that he stabbed Dad to death with a knife and killed Mom." Mom and Dad stopped moving. Qing Jianxin went out, and Grandpa Mu jumped in from the balcony. He carried me and jumped down from the balcony. The moment he left, the house exploded. Grandpa Mu carried me and escaped. On the way, Qing Jianqin's men caught him and killed Grandpa Mu. I was scared out of my wits. When Grandpa Mu took me with him, he told me that I must survive. Only by surviving can I avenge Mom and Dad. At this point, Ban Jianning's face was covered in tears. Song Wuyo understood everything. She raised her hand and wiped away Ban Jianning's tears. Jianning, don't say any more. I know everything. I know everything, everything was in the past. Ban Dekhang and his wife were killed. This was a huge trauma for Ban Jianning. It was already amazing that he could walk out of this shadow. The dead could not live, and Qing Jianqin had received his retribution. In the future, she would let her brother live a better life. She turned back and looked gratefully at Migu, who had sent her back. Migu, thank you. The Mu family had done too much for them. Migu smiled. Why are you thanking me? It was my grandfather who saved Jianning, not me. I don't even know how to repay the kindness of your Mu clan. Give yourself to me. Migu suddenly recalled what Qing Wanduo had said to him. Song Wuyo chuckled and glared at him. Aren't you afraid that Ah Ho will chase after you with a knife? Migu raised his eyebrows. Why is it chasing me and not you? You're the one who wants to give yourself to me. You'd better think about how to repay Qing Wanduo with your body. She said that she would wash her hands and pursue her love. You're her love, right? Migu's eyes darkened. She's not my cup of tea. I don't like her. Song Wuyo asked curiously, then what kind of food do you like? Coriander or cabbage? Chives. When Song Wuyo returned to the villa, Huang Ling got up from the sofa and looked at her with a complicated expression. Song Wuyo's heart ached a little when she saw the complicated and sorrowful expression on her face. Song Wuyo took off her shoes and walked over. Wuyo. Huang Ling looked at her with red eyes. Song Wuyo knew that she had cried. Song Wuyo stood in front of her, reached out, and hugged her deeply. Chapter 687. If, Huang Ling choked with sobs and said intermittently, if my soul isn't like this, am I President Ban's daughter? No. Song Wuyo pressed her hands on Huang Ling's shoulders and looked deeply at Huang Ling. Huang Ling, you are Huang Ling. In this life, you are Huang Ling. The identity of Ban Dechang's daughter would bring danger. Qing Jianqin was arrested, and she didn't know if he had any accomplices. She didn't want Huang Ling to be in danger. Until now, they hadn't found Ban Dechang's eldest son. They didn't even know if he was alive or dead. Song Wuyo really didn't want the people around her to be in any danger. Huang Ling choked with sobs and said, I understand. I understand your good intentions. But. Her body was gone, but her mind was still there. When she thought of how Ban Dekhang and his wife died so strangely, Huang Ling's heart ached and she couldn't help but cry. It's all in the past. Qing Jianqin has also been punished. Hearing this, Huang Ling wiped her tears with her sleeves and looked straight at Song Wuyo. She asked expectantly, will he be executed? He embezzled so much money, killed people, and raped others. He should be. What a devil. If such a devil isn't executed, is there any law? Huang Ling angrily scolded. Song Wuyo tidied up the messy hair on Huang Ling's forehead and smiled. Yes, there is. The law exists at all times. I heard that Gu Yanhao will return to M City tomorrow. Wuyo, I'm very happy. Huang Ling tightly held Song Wuyo's hand and said. Song Wuyo smiled and said, I'm also very happy. Qing Jianqin's ugly face was exposed, and he received the punishment he deserved. I'm really happy that Aho can come back safely. Huang Ling smiled through her tears and looked at Song Wuyo. I asked Sister Song to make a sumptuous dinner. Let's celebrate together, okay? Song Wuyo nodded and said with a smile, okay. Miss. Su Jing's voice suddenly came. Before she arrived, her voice came first. Song Wuyo turned around. Huang Ling and Migu also looked out the door. After a while, Su Jing's figure appeared. She rushed in and hugged Song Wuyo. Miss, you scared me. Su Jing sounded like she was about to cry. That bad woman Ching Wan Duo said you were dead. I was so scared that I stopped breathing. Hearing Su Jing's words, Migu's eyes darkened, and he was a little unhappy. Song Wuyo smiled. Ching Wan Duo said that I was dead, so I meant that I wasn't dead. Miss, I feel that I'm very useless. Su Jing looked at Song Wuyo apologetically. Not only did she fail to protect her, but when she was knocked out for a longer time than her. If she was killed, she really wouldn't even know how she died. Moreover, Miss was pregnant, don't blame yourself. Today, let's celebrate happily. Song Wuyo said with a smile, holding Su Jing in one hand and Huang Ling in the other. Not good, not good. Mushin isn't back yet. Ban Jianing suddenly stomped his feet and said unhappily. Seeing that he was still like a child, Song Wuyo couldn't help but laugh. She's off work. She should be back soon. Ban Jianing pursed his lips. She usually comes back at this time, but she's not back yet. She might have a boyfriend. She's on a date. Migu teased him. When Ban Jianing heard that, he pursed his lips and looked unhappy. Enough. Migu glanced at him disdainfully. You've been pretending for so long. Aren't you tired? Ban Jianing rolled his eyes at Migu. It's a habit. Chapter 688. Mushin won't like a natural person like you. When Ban Jianing heard this, his eyes became deep, and a complicated look flashed past his eyes. Alright, let's go in and eat. Song Wuyo pulled Su Jing and Huang Ling to the dining room. Migu and Ban Jianing followed behind. Ban Jianing looked at Migu faintly. What kind of me does Mushin like? Migu's answer was very devastating. She doesn't like you. It's useless no matter what you become. When Ban Jianing heard this, he seemed to hear the sound of his heart breaking. He muttered, it's not that she doesn't like me. It's just that she was hurt too deeply by her first love. Tonight's dishes were really sumptuous. They were all Sister Song's best dishes, and everyone had their favorite dishes. Take a seat first and wait for Mushin to come back, Song Wuyo said. Yes, of course we have to wait for Mushin to come back to celebrate. At the mention of Mushin, Ban Jianing was in a good mood. Su Jing and Huang Ling looked at Ban Jianing strangely. They felt that Ban Jianing was a little different. Previously, Huang Ling didn't have any feelings for Ban Jianing. She knew that Ban Jianing was Ban Dechang's son and that he called Song Wuyo sister. She thought that they were sworn siblings. Now that she knew that Song Wuyo was Ban Dechang's daughter, she suddenly felt that Ban Jianing wasn't so annoying anymore. Huang Ling looked at Ban Jianing. He gave people the feeling that he was gentle and polite. His facial features were pretty and he was quite handsome. After all, Ban Dechang and his wife were very good-looking when they were young. Their parents were so good-looking, so their children wouldn't be too bad-looking. Ban Jianing was like this, and so was Song Wuyo. Huang Ling suddenly felt very lucky that it was noble consort Song's soul that had transmigrated and inherited her identity. With her intelligence and ability, if Qing Jianxin and Qing Junhua found out that she was Ban Dechang's daughter, she would have reunited with her parents long ago. Everything was predestined, it was also destined that Gu Yanhao belonged to noble consort Song and not her. They sat there and waited for a long time before Mu Axian finally returned. Mu Xin was wearing the Song Consortium's professional attire and looked very quiet. When she came in and saw that everyone was there, she smiled and said, "There's a traffic jam." Her smile was a little forced, but there was an unconcealable sadness in her eyes. He sat down with a heavy heart. They were all aware of her emotions. Magoo just looked at her deeply and didn't say anything. Ban Jianing looked at her and asked, "Mu Xin, are you unhappy?" "No." Mu Axian didn't even look at Ban Jianing, and her tone wasn't good either. "Oh." Ban Jianing lowered his head. In a place where they couldn't see, his gaze became very complicated. "Let's eat. Although Aho isn't back yet, I'm very happy to know that he's still alive. Qing Jianxin has done so many bad things in his life, and he's finally getting his retribution. Today is something to be happy about. I'm pregnant and can't drink, so I can only drink soup to celebrate." Song Wuyo stood up, picked up a bowl of soup, and looked at everyone with a smile. Magoo looked up and looked at her gently. Then, he raised his wine glass and clinked it with hers. Su Jing, Huang Ling, Ban Jianing, and the others also stood up and clinked their glasses together. Although Mu Xin didn't slow down, she also drank and laughed. However, it was very obvious that she had a lot on her mind. Moreover, she didn't eat much tonight. She quickly put down her chopsticks and said that she was full. Ban Jianing looked at her in surprise. "Don't you usually eat a lot?" Chapter 689. Ban Jianing looked at her in surprise. "Don't you usually eat a lot? Why did she eat so little now? Moreover, today was a happy day, wasn't it?" Mu Axian looked at Ban Jianing indifferently. "Is it your business how much I eat?" Hearing that, Ban Jianing raised his eyebrows, and his gaze suddenly became very deep. Mu Axian was not in the mood to pay attention to him. Then, she glanced at Magoo, Song Wuyo, Huang Ling, and Su Jing apologetically. "I'm full, you guys eat slowly." At this time, Mu Axian was throwing a tantrum, causing Magoo's face to darken. Song Wuyo smiled and said, "This child must have encountered something that made him unhappy. I'll go and comfort her later." Song Wuyo came out of the dining room and did not see Mu Axian. Then, she went to her room and did not see her either. She walked out of the villa. She saw her and Ban Jianing's figures appear in the pavilion in front. Mu Axian sat leaning against the pillar of the pavilion, while Ban Jianing plucked a lot of flowers, thinking of ways to make her happy. Song Wuyo walked over with light steps. "Do you like roses or hyacinths?" Ban Jianing pinched a flower on his head and looked at Mu Axian with a smile. "Am I handsome like this?" Mu Axian did not want to pay attention to Ban Jianing from beginning to end. She looked at him with undisguised disdain. "Why are you unhappy today? Tell me, I'm willing to be your receiver. Did you confess to a boy and get rejected? What do I have to do for you to disappear from my sight?" Mu Axian looked at Ban Jianing coldly. Ban Jianing looked at Mu Axian aggrievedly. "Do you hate me? You want me to disappear?" "Hate you?" Mu Axian stared at Ban Jianing with hatred. "I hate you so much that I want to strangle you to death." Hearing that, Song Wuyo stopped in her tracks. She stood behind Mu Axian and frowned slightly. Why did Mu Axian hate Ban Jianing so much that she wanted to strangle him to death? Ban Jianing pursed his lips and looked like he was about to cry. He looked at Mu Axian pitifully. "Why do you hate me so much?" "Because I'm a fool." Mu Xin gritted her teeth and didn't answer him. Ban Jianing looked straight into her eyes. "Mu Xin, do you like me now that I'm no longer a fool?" No. Mu Axayan suddenly shouted at him, even if you are an extremely intelligent genius, I will not like you. You are my enemy. When Ban Jianing heard this, he smiled and asked in confusion, how am I your enemy? He had always treated her well. You're the one who killed my grandfather. Mushin said sadly. Mushin had already returned to the manor. When Song Wuyo came back, she was hiding under a tree and scrolling through her phone to read the latest news about Qing Junhua. Then, she heard what Ban Jianing said as he hugged Song Wuyo. It turned out that his grandfather had sacrificed himself in order to save Ban Jianing. Moreover, her grandfather's appearance at the Ban mansion had implicated her parents, as well as her grandparents. All of this was because of Ban Jianing, that fool. Ban Jianing's mind buzzed when he heard that. His pupils constricted as he looked at Mu Axayan in disbelief. So that was what she was thinking, because of you, my grandfather sacrificed himself. My parents and grandparents are no longer around. Tell me, should I hate you? Mu Axayan's eyes were filled with tears. Mu Axayan's words made Song Wuyo's heart tremble. Mu Axayan was an innocent child. She thought of things very simply. However, her thoughts still gave Song Wuyo a fright. I don't want to either. Ban Jianing said softly. Chapter 690. At that time, he was only 5 years old and didn't know anything. Ban Jianing felt that even if Grandpa Mu sacrificed himself to save him, Mushin shouldn't hate him. Squatting in front of Mushin, he raised his head and looked at her indifferently. Isn't it my duty to protect the king? You're all selfish. King, you think you're the king and that your life is important. Other people's lives are even less important than a dog's. Mushin, at that time, I didn't know that Grandpa Mu would appear. I was scared silly. It's because you were young and scared silly. I just hate you. If you weren't silly and were a normal person, would have killed you. Mushin was angry and didn't choose her words carefully. But after Ban Jianing heard that, his heart seemed to be crushed by Mushin's hand. It turned out that she didn't kill him because he was silly. If he became smart, would she not even look at him? Ban Jianing looked down and recalled how she treated him coldly and disdainfully ever since he met her. He felt a chill in his heart. In the past, she didn't know how her grandfather died. She hated and disdained him so much. Now, she knew that her grandfather died to save him, and because of this matter, her family was implicated. She would hate him even more and dislike him even more. Ban Jianing got up. He didn't know if it was because he squatted for too long or because he was too sad, but when he got up, his body swayed. He staggered a little before he steadied himself. After he steadied himself, he looked up and met Song Wuyo's eyes, who was standing behind Mushin. Song Wuyo's expression was calm, but there was some heartache in her eyes when she looked at him. Ban Jianing didn't say anything. He turned and left the pavilion. He didn't walk towards Song Wuyo. Instead, he walked in the opposite direction. Looking at his straight back, Song Wuyo suddenly felt that he was very lonely. Recalling the relationship between her brother and sister-in-law and her previous life, Song Wuyo couldn't help but sigh. They loved each other so deeply in their previous life. Were they going to become enemies in this life? Song Wuyo retracted her gaze and looked at Mushin. She wanted to comfort and enlighten Mushin. But in the end, she resisted. At this time, the more she comforted Mushin, the more she would feel that she was speaking up for Ban Jianing. Song Wuyo turned around and walked towards the villa. After returning to the room, Song Wuyo took a shower and then lay on the bed to read a book to pass the time. Mu Axayan was blown by the cold wind in the pavilion. She only came back when her limbs were stiff and her lips were purple. She couldn't take it anymore. Song Wuyo and Gu Yanhao's bedrooms were on the second floor. Ban Jianning's bedroom was on the third floor. Muxin, Megu, and Huang Ling were in the guest room on the first floor. Muxin walked into the living room. Sister Song, who was still at work, told her, "Miss Muxin, Mr. Megu asked you to go in and look for him when you come back." Muxin glanced at Sister Song absent-mindedly and nodded. Oh. Then, she went to Megu's room. Megu was standing in front of the window, smoking a cigarette. The smell of smoke made Mu Axayan frown. She walked over and stood behind Megu. "Brother, you were looking for me." Megu didn't answer her. Instead, he took a deep puff of the cigarette and put it out in the ashtray on the windowsill. There were many cigarette butts in the ashtray. Megu had been smoking here for a long time. After putting out the cigarette, he slowly exhaled the smoke in his mouth. From his mouth and from his nose, the white smoke rose densely. Megu seemed to be shrouded in a misty painting. He was incomparably handsome. Chapter 691. Brother. Seeing that he was ignoring her, Mu Axayan called him again. Slap. What she got in response was a resounding slap. Megu suddenly turned around and gave Mu Axayan a slap. This slap struck Mu Axayan until her entire person was stupefied. She forgot about the pain and looked at Megu in shock. Her face was full of disbelief. "Brother, you hit me. Because you're so wrong." Megu looked at Mu Axayan coldly. "What wrong did Jianing do? Why did you treat him like this?" Mu Axayan felt a wave of despair in her heart. "He snitched to you. I heard it. If he wasn't stupid, would you have killed him?" Megu said. "Can't I even say it?" Mu Axayan said loudly. "No." Megu's eyes were red. "He's not wrong. You can't even say it." Mu Axayan smiled bitterly. "How is he not wrong? Grandpa died to save him. No one forced Grandpa to save him." "Brother, how can you say that?" Mu Axayan felt pain in her heart. She looked at Megu in disbelief. "The one who died is a member of our Mu family. You don't feel any heartache. Heartache is heartache, but you can't vent your emotions on Jianing because of your heartache. If you don't vent it on him, who do you want to vent it on? Jianing is the son of President Ban. He belongs to the prince. Grandpa and Dad are their officials. It's only right for officials to die for the king. You're saying that Grandpa and Dad deserve to die?" Mu Axayan was bitterly disappointed. "It's not deserved." Megu raised his fist and glared at Mu Axayan. "Their duty is to protect the lives of the Ban family. It's honorable for them to die for the Ban family. It's not deserved. Jianing didn't do anything wrong, and he doesn't owe us anything. You can dislike him, but you can't hate him. Whether I like him or not, whether I hate him or not, that's my business. You can't control it." Mu Axayan looked at Megu sadly. "You've never been willing to hit me. Today, you actually hit me for Ban Jianing. Brother, I'm very disappointed in you. I'm more disappointed in you." Megu looked at Mu Axayan coldly. "I thought you were a reasonable girl, but you're not. Jianing's IQ has a problem, and it's not what he wants. You actually dislike him because of this. Grandfather is a general, and father is a subordinate of the president. They died to protect the prince, and we should be proud of him. But you turned this into hatred, and vented your emotions on Jianing. Have you ever thought that he would be sad? I'm also very sad." Muxin pointed at her heart. "Have you ever thought that I would be sad too? You care so much about Ban Jianing because of Sister Wuyo, right? Sister Wuyo will never belong to you in this lifetime. Don't be silly. This has nothing to do with Wuyo. Magoo shouted. His voice seemed to shake the entire building. Magoo's deafening roar gave Mushin a fright. Magoo's eyes were bloodshot as he looked at Mu Aksayan sharply. Restrain your willfulness. Don't throw a tantrum in front of me. Mu Aksayan's eyes were filled with tears as she looked at Magoo with grievance. Magoo looked at her coldly and said, Grandfather died to save Jianing, so you think that Jianing is an enemy and hate him. Then what about Qing Junhua? Hearing this, Mu Aksayan's heart fiercely clenched. She looked at Magoo in astonishment. Brother, you. Magoo's expression was malicious. Don't think that I don't know anything. Chapter 692. You've been in contact since last week, right? Qing Jianxin was arrested and Qing Jianpain was demoted to a commoner. Do you feel sorry for Qing Junhua? Guilt flashed across Mu Aksayan's eyes. If Qing Jianxin wasn't so ambitious back then, would President Ban have been killed? If President Ban hadn't been killed, how would Grandpa have had the chance to save Jianing? How would he have had the chance to die because of Jianing? Qing Jianxin killed Dad and Mom. It has nothing to do with Jianing. Qing Junhua pushed you when you were pregnant and caused you to miscarry. Doesn't that count as killing your child? Mu Aksayan's face turned pale. Qing Junhua killed your child. Don't you hate him? He's dating you and dating another woman behind your back. Don't you hate him? At least your child's death was caused by him. Grandpa's death wasn't caused by Jianing. Don't you think you're cheap for hating him so much? Mu Aksayan's face was already covered in tears. Disappointment flashed across Magoo's eyes. Qing Junhua contacted you because that woman realized that the Qing family was about to be finished and broke up with him. If that woman didn't break up with him, would he have thought of you? Do you think Qing Junhua came back for you sincerely? That's because he knows about your relationship with Wuyo. He wants you to speak up for Qing Jianpain in front of Wuyo so that Aho can restore Qing Jianpain's position after he becomes the president. It's not like that. Mu Aksayan shook her head with tears streaming down her face. Junhua really regrets breaking up with me. Enough. Magoo suddenly interrupted her. It seems that my slap didn't wake you up. Magoo had always been reluctant to hit Mu Aksayan. This time, he hit her and said such words. Mu Aksayan was very upset. In her sadness, she said angrily, even if Junhua came back to me to use me, I'm willing. I like him and you can't stop me. Just like how I won't stop you from liking Sister Wuyo. You're really getting bolder and bolder. Magoo gnashed his teeth. He was already trying his best to control himself, so he didn't give Mu Aksayan another slap. Mu Aksayan glared fiercely at Magoo, then turned around and left. She even angrily slammed the door shut with a bang. Since you don't love me anymore, can't I leave? I'm going back to the ranch. Mu Aksayan huffed as she walked out of the villa. After her figure disappeared from the living room, Ban Jianing's figure slowly walked out from behind the stairs. His expression was gloomy, and his gaze was complicated. So, she was willing to be used by Qing Junhua. It turned out that she was still in love with Qing Junhua, who had hurt her deeply. Ban Jianing clenched his teeth tightly. Did this woman really have to humiliate herself like this? The next day, 9 o'clock. Wuyo, Haozi is back. Hurry up and leave. Song Wuyo was awakened by Huang Ling's excited cry. Last night, Song Wuyo was lying in bed, thinking that Gu Yanhao would be back today. She was so excited that she almost couldn't sleep. She thought that she would just keep her eyes open until dawn. Who knew that in the second half of the night, sleepiness would overtake her, and she would fall asleep. Moreover, she slept very deeply. The commotion outside couldn't wake her up at all. It was Huang Ling who came in and pulled her. Her excited words woke her up in an instant. Gu Yanhao was back. So early. So fast. Without another word or washing up, Song Wuyo hurried downstairs in her pajamas just like that. Chapter 693. When she, who was wearing conservative, thick winter pajamas, came downstairs and saw the man standing in the middle of the living room, it was like a dream. It was really him. He was wearing a black sweater inside and a new black men's jacket outside. A pair of brown trousers made his legs look very slender. He stood there and looked at Song Wuyo with a faint smile. Song Wuyo smiled, but his eyes were filled with tears at some point. "I'm back." Gu Yanhao opened his arms and said to her affectionately. Song Wuyo quickly walked up and threw herself into his arms. She buried her face deep in his chest, inhaling his scent. "I'm sorry to have worried you." Gu Yanhao's thick arms hugged her tightly. At this moment, he wanted nothing more than to rub her into his blood and bones. In total, they had been separated for more than half a month. It wasn't long, but to them, it was as long as a century. She had lost weight, and his heart ached. His exquisite face had also lost weight, and her heart ached for him. "It's good that you're back." As long as he came back safely, it was better than anything. She didn't want to hear any words like sorry. Gu Yanhao held her face and observed her seriously. A deep and mellow voice sounded, "I didn't eat properly." "You've lost weight." Pregnancy reaction. "I can't eat properly even if I want to." Song Wuyo met his affectionate gaze. "Honey." Gu Yanhao couldn't help but hug her tightly in his arms. "I'll never leave you again." In the future, he didn't want to be separated from her for another day. During this period of time, not having her by his side was simply torture. "I won't leave you either." Song Wuyo wrapped her arms tightly around his waist and felt his strong heartbeat. It was very safe and comfortable. Huang Ling stood on the stairs and looked at them hugging each other. Her heart felt both gratified and sour. He had never hugged her like this before. She didn't know how it would feel to be hugged by him like this. Mugu looked up and happened to see her distressing expression. Mugu raised his eyebrows thoughtfully. "Brother-in-law." Ban Jianing stepped forward and interrupted their embrace. Gu Yanhao glared at Ban Jianing unhappily. "Can't you let me hug your sister a little longer? I want to ask, how did you jump out of the plane?" "It's a long story. I'll tell you when I have time. Right now, I need to." Gu Yanhao looked at Song Wuyo seductively. Song Wuyo was stunned and looked at her in confusion. "What do you want? Do you want breakfast?" "I want to kiss you." As he spoke, Gu Yanhao lowered his head to kiss Song Wuyo. Song Wuyo quickly reached out and covered his mouth with her palm. She smiled. "You're not allowed to kiss me. I'm still washing up." Her hair was uncombed, and she went downstairs in a disheveled state. "I don't mind." Gu Yanhao's eyes were full of tenderness. "I don't mind." Song Wuyo got out of his arms. There were so many people watching them. It was not good to show off their love the moment they came back. She looked at him and smiled. "I'll go wash up and change." After that, she turned around and went upstairs quickly. Gu Yanhao's gaze followed her figure. It was only when she went upstairs that he reluctantly retracted his gaze. Unintentionally, his gaze stopped on Huang Ling. Huang Ling, who was standing on the stairs, smiled at him. Holding the handrail, she went down step by step. Gu Yanhao caught a hint of sourness in Huang Ling's eyes. His gaze deepened and he went forward. Chapter 694. Huang Ling came down, and Gu Yanhao came forward. Soon, the two of them were standing face to face. Huang Ling was not as smart as Song Wuyo. When she heard the news of Gu Yanhao's death in the plane crash, the pain in her heart could not be described with just a few words. God knew how dark her life was during that time, but when she saw Song Wuyo so determined to live on, she learned from her and tried her best to live on. If not, she might have been so sad that she would have killed herself. Now, the person who allowed her to live on as Huang Ling was not the original owner's mother, nor was it Song Wuyo, nor was it herself. It was him. Other than him, there was no one else in this world that was worth remembering. Other than the memories with him, although they were not beautiful, they were also the spirit that supported her to live on. Loving him did not mean that she had to occupy him. It was not bad to be able to live and see his happy life. If she could not see his happiness, what was the point of her living? Huang Ling had thought of this before. She would wait for another half a year. If Gu Yanhao did not return after half a year, she would choose euthanasia and go to heaven with him. She hoped that she would not receive his love in the human world. In heaven, they would be able to wait for each other. When she heard that the international authorities had found him and treated his injuries, she returned to her room and locked herself up. Inside, she burst into tears. Afraid that the people outside would hear, she could only cover her mouth with the blanket and cry. She was not crying because she was sad, but because she was excited and happy to be reunited after experiencing life and death. Now that she saw him standing in front of her alive, she was even more excited and touched. She was very touched that God had let him live. "Girl, haven't you eaten? You've lost so much weight." Gu Yanhao looked at Huang Ling like a brother doting on her. His deep voice carried the gentleness of a brother doting on his little sister. When Huang Ling heard this, tears instantly flowed out of her eyes. "Wow!" She suddenly burst into tears and hugged Gu Yanhao. "I heard that you were one of the victims of the plane crash. I feel like the sky is falling down." Wah! Gu Yanhao smiled faintly, raised his hand and gently patted her shoulder, comforting her. "It's all right, aren't I back now? Don't cry. It's because you're back that I want to cry." Huang Ling cried, "I'm not sad, I'm happy." Her tears flowed and soon, Gu Yanhao's clothes were wet. All right. You cry when you're happy, and you cry when you're sad. Why do you women like to cry so much?" Gu Yanhao teased. Huang Ling was stunned. She suddenly remembered that he hated it the most when she cried. In the past, when she cried, he didn't even look at her. That cold gaze made her heart cold. She quickly let go of Gu Yanhao and took 2 steps back. She awkwardly wiped her tears and said with a smile and a cry, "I can't help it. I can't control myself at all." After saying that, Huang Ling turned around, her back facing Gu Yanhao. She kept wiping away her tears and giggling. She was very happy, really happy. In the past, Gu Yanhao had never treated her like this. Now, he treated her like a brother to his little sister. Even if this was the case, she was enough. When Huang Ling looked up, she saw Song Wuyo, who had washed up and changed her clothes, coming downstairs. Her hair was neatly combed and draped vertically, like fine silk. She was wearing an aqua blue knitted dress and a denim jacket. Chapter 695. Very beautiful. Huang Ling's eyes flashed as she looked at Song Wuyo with reddened eyes. Even though she had this figure and appearance in the past, she had never felt that she was very beautiful. But now that she looked at Song Wuyo, she felt that Song Wuyo was very beautiful. She was really compatible with Gu Yanhao. Gu Yanhao looked up and looked at Song Wuyo. His gaze was deep and gentle. He couldn't get enough of her. Song Wuyo had a smile on her face. She was elegant, dignified, and calm. She glanced at Gu Yanhao and then looked at Huang Ling. Seeing that her eyes were red, Song Wuyo asked, "Are you crying?" "Can I not cry?" Many times, the scene of meeting could make people cry. "Silly girl." Song Wuyo smiled. "I'm going to work at the bar. I've taken so many days off. The foreman is not happy. It was her shift today. She had to work during the day." After saying that, she quickly turned and walked out of the door as if she was afraid that Song Wuyo or Gu Yanhao would ask her to stay. "I'll send you." Magoo followed. Song Wuyo looked at them in a daze. What was going on? Gu Yanhao had just returned. Shouldn't they be celebrating? Why were they all leaving? Song Wuyo sighed in her heart. Huang Ling was avoiding, wifey. Gu Yanhao didn't care about anyone else. Right now, he only had Song Wuyo in his eyes and heart. Song Wuyo walked over and stood in front of him, looking at him with a smile. Gu Yanhao raised his hand and held her face, gazing at her affectionately. "Wifey, I miss you so much." Song Wuyo looked at him in the eyes. "If you miss me, why didn't you text me or call me?" Qing Jianxin and Qing Junhua are not easy to deal with. Are they? I think they're easy to deal with. Qing Junhua is dead. You didn't participate in it, so you don't know how dangerous it is. What's going on? Song Wuyo asked. Let's go in and eat first. I'll tell you about it later. Gu Yanhao kissed her hard on the lips before pulling her into the dining room. There were only the two of them in the restaurant. Song Wuyo asked, "Where are Aude and Grandpa?" Gu Yanhao looked at her with a smile in his eyes. "In Australia." Song Wuyo was surprised. "They didn't come back with you." "Grandpa is injured. Aude is taking care of him over there." "Oh, crash. What happened? Why did the police find your documents?" Gu Yanhao said, "Because our IDs are on it." Song Wuyo asked, "Did you know that Qing Junhua did something to the plane?" Gu Yanhao shook his head. "I didn't know. If I knew, I would have stopped him. Then, there wouldn't have been so many innocent deaths." Song Wuyo looked at him in confusion. "Then, your IDs," Gu Yanhao's eyes were deep. "I was worried that Qing Junhua would arrange for someone to attack Grandpa and me at the airport. So, I asked my men to pretend to be Grandpa and Aude and bring our IDs on the plane. I arranged for Grandpa and Aude to stay in a safe place in Australia while I secretly returned home. I never thought that Qing Junhua would be so crazy. In order to kill Grandpa and me, he didn't even let the people on the plane go." Song Wuyo said, "How hateful. Such a person wants to be the president." Song Wuyo suddenly thought of Qing Jianxin and anger flashed in her eyes. Qing Jianxin is even scarier. He's a beast. Gu Yanhao looked at her deeply. "He will be shot." Song Wuyo looked at Gu Yanhao. "Oh, did you upload those videos and recordings?" Chapter 696. Gu Yanhao nodded. "Yes. Isn't this something that happened 15 years ago? Why do you have this evidence?" Gu Yanhao's eyes were deep. "This evidence has always been in Muxin's hands." Song Wuyo was surprised. "Magoo?" Gu Yanhao nodded. "Yes, his father gave it to him before he died. Why didn't he expose Qing Jianxin earlier when he had such important evidence in his hands? Perhaps Magoo's heart has been diluted by the departure of his family. He didn't like the noisy city and didn't like to argue with the world. He liked to stay at the ranch and live the life he wanted. To him, it was the same whether Qing Jianxin was the president or Ban Dekhang was the president. Then why did he expose it later?" "Because of you." Gu Yanhao looked at Song Wuyo. Because of me? Song Wuyo was even more surprised. Yes. Because he knew that you were Ban Dechang's daughter and that Qing Junhua knew about your identity. At this time, only by exposing them can you live safely. When Song Wuyo heard this, she pursed her lips and her expression was a little complicated. This Migu is really loyal. Suddenly, Song Wuyo shuddered. She looked at Gu Yanhao. That's strange. Are you not afraid that I'll be good to Migu? He was a jealous lover. Gu Yanhao curled his lips. I'm telling the truth, and the truth can't be hidden forever. I won't tell you these things, but you'll find out one day. The nature of hearing it from him was different from hearing it from someone else. Besides, the evidence was provided by Migu and uploaded online. I'm the mastermind behind it, Gu Yanhao said proudly. Song Wuyo was in a good mood that he could come back safely and Qing Jinxin was arrested. Thank you, hubby. Song Wuyo smiled happily, her cheeks slightly red. It's good to be protected by you. I think that after Qing Jinxin steps down, Korea will soon hold a presidential election. Isn't it obvious? Everyone is choosing you. There is no one else. According to the reports on the internet, even the high-ranking officials and mayors agreed that Gu Yanhao should be the king. No, I don't want to be president, Gu Yanhao said. If you don't want to do it, will Migu do it? That was good. Whether it was Gu Yanhao or Migu, Song Wuyo would support it. Gu Yanhao looked at her with a smile and did not directly answer her question. Instead, he said in a warm voice, You did very well while I was away. When Song Wuyo heard this, she glared at him. You still have the nerve to mention it? At first, I was in so much pain that I wished I was dead. Especially when she saw the police personally take their documents into the manor. At that moment, she felt that she was already dead. In the future, I won't let you be in so much pain that you wish you were dead. I'll make you happy. It's good that you can do it. Gu Yanhao looked at her affectionately. Wifey, you're the best. These were his heartfelt words. Don't talk nonsense. Hurry up and eat. Song Wuyo felt embarrassed by his words. After eating, they returned to the bedroom. Song Wuyo took out his sleeping robe and let him take a bath. The international side said that you were injured. Is that true? Song Wuyo asked as she held Gu Yanhao's sleeping robe. Gu Yanhao stood in front of the bed and took off his coat. He looked at her deeply. Yes. His voice was low and mellow, like a note that struck her heart. Chapter 697. Where is it? Let me take a look. Song Wuyo put down her nightgown and came up to him. She was worried about him. It's nothing serious. It's just a superficial injury. I got it when I was saving Grandpa. Gu Yanhao smiled casually. Let me take a look. Song Wuyo took off his jacket. His jacket was off. He was wearing a sweater. Gu Yanhao looked at her with a charming smile. Song Wuyo saw him staring at her with a smile but did not take off his jacket. She frowned slightly. Take it off. I want to check your wound. Gu Yanhao sat down on the bed and raised his arm. If you want to check my wound, help me take it off. Song Wuyo's cheeks were slightly red, but she had to put on a look of disdain. She looked at Gu Yanhao coldly. You think I don't dare to take it off? She reached out, grabbed his sweater, and pulled it up. She did not forget to mumble, We're already an old couple. Don't tell me you're still shy. After taking off his sweater, there was a long johns underneath. The long johns were tight and showed off his muscular figure. It was very charming and sexy. His chest had perfect muscles, and even the long johns couldn't hide his charm and charisma. Although she was mumbling, Song Wuyo blushed when she saw Gu Yanhao in the long johns. Her movements were a little sluggish. You won't be able to see my wound like this. Gu Yanhao lifted his head and looked at her seductively. Where is the wound? The front or the back? Song Wuyo asked. Both the front and back. Turn around. Let me see the back. Take it off first. Are you shy? Who said I'm shy? We're already an old couple. What's there to be shy about? Although Song Wuyo was reluctant to admit it, she still took off all his clothes. The man's robust figure was displayed before Song Wuyo's eyes without any obstruction. This time, Song Wuyo did not blush. Instead, she felt sorry for him. There was a scar on the right side of Gu Yanhao's chest, lying diagonally. Isn't it ugly? Gu Yanhao raised his eyes and looked deeply at Song Wuyo. You're not ugly. Song Wuyo pursed her lips, her eyes a little hot. Although the scar had already formed a scab, one could still tell how deep it was. Gu Yanhao's lips curled into a bewitching smile. Fortunately, it wasn't in an important position. Otherwise, I wouldn't even have a chest. Song Wuyo was amused by his words and her mood lightened. She pursed her lips and glared at him. Even if it's across your chest, it won't affect your handsomeness even if you wear clothes. What if I take off my clothes? I don't despise you for being ugly. As a man, he did not rely on his chest to make a living. As long as you don't mind, Gu Yanhao said with a smile. You're saying it as if you're worried that I'll despise you. Ah ho, am I that kind of superficial woman? Gu Yanhao reached out and hugged her. Song Wuyo sat on his lap. No, you're not that kind of superficial woman. Song Wuyo rolled her eyes at him. Then why do you still think that way? But I'm a man who likes to look good. If my chest is cut by a knife, I will be very angry. Song Wuyo held his face with both hands and rubbed it. Dear, it's not your face that's hurt. It's just your chest. You'll still look beautiful with clothes on. What if I take off my clothes in front of you? Gu Yanhao held her hands and did not let her rub his face like this. You're still very handsome. This scar makes you look wild and sexy. You're very charming and charismatic. Although she was heartbroken that he was hurt, what she said was true. This scar really added a bit of wildness and sexiness to Gu Yanhao. He was extremely handsome. Chapter 698. Gu Yanhao curled his lips and smiled. Then should I draw a few lines here? Song Wuyo stared at him. Are you crazy? You masochist. If he drew a few lines, wouldn't she be heartbroken? Silly woman, you believe that? Gu Yanhao hugged her waist. I'm just worried about you. Song Wuyo pursed her lips. I know, I'm just joking with you. Gu Yanhao buried his face in her neck and sniffed her fragrance. Sniff. This smell was too good. He was already addicted to it. Just smelling her scent was not enough. He opened his mouth and bit her shoulder. Even though it was through her clothes, it still hurt. Song Wuyo slapped his back. Gu Yanhao, why did you bite me? You're delicious. Let's go take a shower. Song Wuyo wanted to get down from his lap. No. Gu Yanhao hugged her tightly. Let me hug you. We can take a shower anytime. Anyway, it was daytime now. You just came back. It's a good idea to take a shower to wash away the bad luck on your body. I don't have bad luck on my body. He came back from Migu's ranch. Good boy, go take a shower. Gu Yanhao looked up and smiled at her. Are you going to help me? Song Wuyo blushed. You wish. I'm injured. Shouldn't you help me? You're only injured in the chest. Your hands and feet are not injured. Gu Yanhao's eyes were deep and serious. Actually, I'm injured there too. Song Wuyo did not react for a moment. Where? There. Where is there? A tool for sowing seeds. When Song Wuyo heard that, she was stunned. Then, she lowered her head and looked at him in shock. His crotch was blocking everything. She couldn't see where he was. The corner of her mouth twitched. She slowly raised her head, still looking shocked. It's injured too. Was it kicked or hit by the enemy? Gu Yanhao raised his eyebrows. Is there a difference? There didn't seem to be any difference. They were all injuries. You don't like it? Gu Yanhao saw that she was at a loss and asked in amusement. No. Song Wuyo shook her head and blinked. Her eyelashes trembled. I was just thinking, wouldn't it be too painful for a hooligan like you to not be able to do it when you're injured here? It's indeed painful, especially not being injured. It's even more painful to not be able to do it with the woman I love. Song Wuyo's face fell. How pitiful. You actually think I'm pitiful? Shouldn't you satisfy me in other aspects and serve me? Song Wuyo looked at him faintly. How do you want me to serve you? Can you help me take a bath? If he had said that she would help him take a bath, Song Wuyo might have rejected him. However, when he added the words "can you," Song Wuyo's heart softened. Sure. What's wrong with a wife helping her husband take a bath? Let's go. Gu Yanhao curled his lips. Carrying Song Wuyo, he walked towards the bathroom. In the bathroom, the sound of water could be heard. Suddenly, "Ah ho, didn't you say that you were injured here? Why is there no scar at all? Why is it so thick and firm?" A woman exclaimed. It's injured because it hasn't touched you for a long time. It's not kicked, hit, or even cut by a knife. If it was cut by a knife, would it still be there? You lied to me. You lied to me the moment you came back. Gu Yanhao, I'll pinch you. Chapter 699. Don't pinch me here. It's uncomfortable. Pinch me here. Mu Axean was still working at the Song Enterprise. She liked this job very much. But she couldn't face Ban Jianing, and she couldn't go back to the ranch after work. So, she bought an apartment in the city center. She could move in after the procedures were done. She didn't even need to buy furniture. It was very convenient. The elevator stopped at the floor where she lived. Mu Axean walked out of the elevator. Seeing a familiar figure standing at her door, she was shocked and didn't look good. Why was he here? Mu Axean wanted to turn around and leave immediately. But the other party turned around and found her. Mu Axean. The other party stopped her. Mu Axean turned around and looked at him angrily. She said angrily, "Qing Junghua, how did you find this place?" Qing Junghua went forward and didn't answer Mu Axean. Instead, he looked at her deeply. "Let's sit down and talk, okay?" Mu Axean smiled sarcastically and looked at Qing Junghua coldly. "What's there to talk about between us?" "I'm sorry. Back then, I didn't understand the situation and misunderstood you. Later, I found out that the other party was Ban Jianing. I felt extremely guilty." Misunderstood. Guilty. That Zhang what? Where's the rich girl? Didn't she arrogantly say in front of me that she was pregnant with your child? So much time has passed. After 10 months of pregnancy, she should have given birth. You should be a father now, right? Ching Junguo was very ashamed. He was extremely annoyed and regretted his impulse back then to hurt her. Mu Axian, I'm sorry. I'm done with her. Mu Axian felt a stab of pain in her heart. She looked at Ching Junguo coldly. If it wasn't over, you wouldn't have appeared at my door today, right? It's not like that. You did sleep with her, and she did have your child. She was also your girlfriend when you were dating me. You're two-timing. Ching Junguo, Mu Axian, am not a slut. I won't be so stupid as to go back to the same old grass. Ching Junguo looked at Mu Axian sadly. You're really not willing to give me a chance. Mu Axian's expression was indifferent. My heart is already dead. How can I give you a chance? Not to mention giving him a chance, she didn't even give herself a chance. Is your heart dead, or do you not dare to face it? Ching Junguo suddenly grabbed Mushin's hands and looked straight at her. The way you look at me, tell me, have you really given up on me? Mu Axian raised her eyes and looked straight into Ching Junguo's eyes. She saw regret and sadness in his eyes. Her heart clenched, her eyes reddened, and an extremely sad feeling swept through her heart. Had she really given up on him? Or maybe it was. She didn't answer him immediately because she was shocked by the pain in his eyes. Back then, he was the one who broke up with her. She even killed their child. Mushin hated all of this. He still had the nerve to ask her that. Even without her, didn't he still have the rich daughter of the Zhang family? Mu Axian, I love you. Ching Junguo looked straight at Mu Axian and said word by word, I regret it. He really regretted it. My relationship with Zhang Rulan ended a long time ago. It ended after I hurt you. Mu Axian, can you forgive me? After saying that, Ching Junguo didn't wait for Mu Axian's reaction. He lowered his head and bit Mu Axian with his lips. Mu Axian was shocked. Her mind instantly went blank, and she forgot to react. At this moment, the elevator door opened with a bang. Ban Jianning's handsome figure appeared in front of the elevator. When he saw Mu Axian and Ching Junguo kissing, it was as if he was struck by lightning. There was a loud buzzing sound in his head. Chapter 700. She felt as if she had been electrocuted. Her heart felt as if it had suddenly exploded. Time seemed to have frozen. Heaven and earth were tumbling, and her body was falling. This feeling was as if the sky was falling and she had seen the end of the world. Ban Jianning's expression was very ugly. He bit his lower lip tightly and wanted to go forward and pull them apart. But who was he to pull them apart? The couple was kissing. If he went forward to disturb them, Mushin would hate him even more and hate him. Ban Jianning turned around and strode into the elevator. Slap! Mushin, who came back to her senses, pushed Ching Junguo away and slapped him hard. Mushin was so angry that her face turned red. She glared at Ching Junguo. You shameless! Ching Junguo's handsome face was red from the slap. It hurt, but he didn't care. Right now, he only hoped that Mu Axian could forgive him and give him a chance to reconcile with her. He looked at Mushin sincerely. Mushin, I really love you. Please believe me. Love her. Mushin felt that this was very ironic. If he loved her, would he be two-timing her when he was dating her? If he loved her, would he push her down and cause her to have a miscarriage and ignore her? Mushin sneered at Ching Junguo. Her eyes were full of sarcasm and disdain. Your love is too cheap. I don't need such cheap love. Also, don't talk to me about love. I feel disgusted when I hear it. Ching Junguo, the next time you come home, I will call the police. In your current situation, I only need to say a few words to get the police to convict you of me. Do you have to be like this? Qing Junguo frowned and looked at Mushin with pain. Ha! Mushin sneered. Then when you date me, do you have to be with that Zhang something? Qing Junguo was speechless when he heard that. I advise you to stop pestering me. I will tell my brother and young Master Gu that you sexually harassed me. When the time comes, you can just wait to go to jail. Mushin had already made her words very clear. Qing Junguo was very disappointed. Then take good care of yourself. With that, he turned and walked toward the elevator. Mu Axian didn't even look at him. She turned around, opened the door, entered the house, and locked the door. Qing Junguo, who was standing in front of the elevator, turned his head when he heard the door close. There was no sign of Mu Axian in the corridor. Qing Junguo pursed his thin lips, his expression grave. Ban Jianing returned to the car angrily. In the car, Lu Jiming was the driver. Ban Jianing sat in the front passenger seat with an ugly expression. Where is Miss Mu Axian? She doesn't want to eat with you. Lu Jiming asked knowingly. Ban Jianing's expression was so ugly, and he came down alone. How could he not have guessed the result? Ban Jianing's face was gloomy. Don't mention her. Lu Jiming smiled knowingly. Okay, don't mention her, don't mention her. So, are we going back to Wuyo Manor or are we going to eat? I don't want to go back. Then let's go eat. I don't want to eat. Then, where do you want to go? Go for a spin. Okay, then I'll take you for a ride. Gu Yanhao was lying on a comfortable double bed with Song Wuyo in his arms. I've received news that Qing Jinxin will be executed by shooting next Wednesday, Gu Yanhao said in a low voice as he looked at the ceiling. So fast. Song Wuyo was a little surprised. Fast. Gu Yanhao turned to look at her and smiled. I feel that it's too slow. The K-Nation people should be very happy with this news. Song Wuyo smiled. Chapter 701. Gu Yanhao turned to his side and looked at Song Wuyo with a chuckle. Wife, you've already participated in the K-Nation's presidential competition. No. Song Wuyo was surprised. She did not participate in such an election. I've already discussed it with many people. For the sake of the country, I've decided to choose you as the K-Nation's president. Are you kidding? When Song Wuyo heard this, she suddenly jumped up and sat on the bed. She looked at Gu Yanhao in shock. You've already discussed it. I believe the whole country will be in an uproar tomorrow. Gu Yanhao chuckled, his eyes shining. Ah ho, why didn't you discuss it with me? Being the king of K-Nation was a big deal. Gu Yanhao took her hand and placed it in his broad palm, holding it tightly. He looked at her deeply. Wuyo, I couldn't make you empress in my previous life. In this life, I'll help you become king. When Song Wuyo heard this, she was shocked and looked at Gu Yanhao in astonishment. Ah ho, you, be good. From tomorrow onwards, I'll arrange for you to give all kinds of speeches. You're so smart, being a good empress won't be difficult for you. Gu Yanhao rubbed her soft and boneless hand. Song Wuyo pursed her lips and looked at Gu Yanhao. But I don't want to be some empress. I just want to be your wife. The whole country's people are cheering for you very intensely. Gu Yanhao said. If you don't push me out, those cheers will be directed at you, not me. You really don't want to? Gu Yanhao asked. I don't want to. Moreover, I'm pregnant now. Giving speeches will be very tiring. In another 2 months, my stomach will bulge. It will be very inconvenient. Song Wuyo said. Gu Yanhao's eyes were deep and thoughtful. Song Wuyo lay down again and changed places with Gu Yanhao's body. Ah ho, let's not look at our past lives anymore. In this life, as long as I can be with you, it's enough. I don't want to be king, and I don't need you to help me become king. I just want to be with you. Even if we live in a paradise, I will still feel very happy. Gu Yanhao's gaze became even more profound. The president is just like the emperor of the Axe dynasty, living under pressure every day. I once had a dream. I dreamt that I returned to the Axe dynasty. Dongfang Xian brought my body back to my hometown. He found a grave for me at the place where we used to fly kites. He buried me there. Every day he would send me flowers and burn incense. Gu Yanhao's eyes were filled with complicated emotions and sadness. He didn't wear a dragon robe, nor did he have any guards with him. He wore simple and crude clothes. I believe that he was already a commoner at that time. Ever since he joined the army, he hoped that his country could become strong and prosperous. He hoped that one day he could be the emperor. It wasn't easy for him to unify the four countries. Why did he give up the opportunity to be the emperor? I don't know who was the king at that time, but I know that he didn't want to be the king anymore. He was even being hunted down. Gu Yanhao's heart was tightly clenched at this moment. I dreamt that many people wanted to kill him. They were lying in ambush around my grave. When Dongfang Xian appeared, they rushed up like a swarm of bees. Each of them had a long knife in their hands and slashed at him. A wave of pain flashed across Gu Yanhao's deep eyes. What surprised me was that Dongfang Xian didn't fight back. He just stood there and let the knife slash at him. I stood beside him. No matter how I called him, he wouldn't leave. Chapter 702. He just stood there and looked at the words on the tombstone as if there was no one around. There were tears in his eyes and he looked sad as if he had seen through the changes in the world. He was disheartened and was not afraid of death. Sigh. At this point, Song Wuyo had mixed feelings. The knife was about to cut his neck by an inch. At this moment, Su Jing woke me up. So. Song Wuyo looked up at Gu Yanhao. You said that you couldn't make me the empress in my previous life, but you want to help me become the empress in this life. Are you like me? Do you have the memories of your previous life? Gu Yanhao's eyes were unfathomable. Even someone as smart as Song Wuyo could not tell what he was thinking at this moment. She only saw a complicated look in his eyes. No. Gu Yanhao smiled. I'm not like you. I didn't experience transmigration. I'm also not like Migu, who chose to jump into the river of forgetfulness. I was reincarnated and drank Meng Po's soup. I don't have any memories of my previous life. Honey, this is too melodramatic. Song Wuyo frowned. Then what did you say just now? Because Migu told me a lot. He said that he saw us reincarnated at the river of forgetfulness with his own eyes. He also told me about the Axe dynasty. Only then did I know that I was such a jerk in the past. I let you down. River of forgetfulness. Song Wuyo's eyes twitched. She thought that it was amazing that she had transmigrated. She did not expect that Migu's experience was even more amazing than hers. If that was the case, he was still very clear about what happened in his previous life. Forget it, forget it. Those were things that happened thousands of years ago. Don't think about it anymore. Get to the point. Ah ho, being the emperor is not really a happy thing. From the beginning to the end, since ancient times, everyone wanted to be the emperor. However, in my dream, I felt that after Dongfang Xian became the emperor, he was not happy. Ah ho, I don't want to be president, but if you want to, I will support you. Song Wuyo looked at Gu Yanhao and smiled. All right. Gu Yanhao smiled warmly. If you don't want to, I won't force you. He just felt that all the planning he had done behind the scenes was a little wasted. He did all this because he wanted to help her become the queen. However, he knew that being the king came with great pressure. Song Wuyo hugged Gu Yanhao and pressed her face against his sturdy chest, listening to his strong heartbeat. I like being the first lady, and I also like being the wife of the CEO of the Gu clan group. Song Wuyo smiled sweetly. Okay. Gu Yanhao curled his lips. Since my baby doesn't like being the president, then I won't either. Song Wuyo asked curiously, if both you and I don't want to be the president, then guess who will be next? Migu. Song Wuyo smiled. I think it will be him too. If Migu is the president, our lives will be more peaceful. Cheng Wanduo said that he would help Migu. If you are the president, Cheng Wanduo might make things difficult for you. That woman was as bold as a bull. She would not respect Song Wuyo just because she was the president. Song Wuyo smiled and said, then let him be the president. We will live a loving and happy life. Besides, being the president is not as profitable as being the CEO. Gu Yanhao curled his charming lips and said with a smile, that's true. Gu Yanhao hugged Song Wuyo tightly. For the rest of our lives, we will sleep in each other's arms every night. That will be enough. I will give birth to many children for you. Every day, they will surround us. The house will be filled with their happy laughter. Chapter 703. Yeah, just thinking about it makes me happy, Gu Yanhao said with a smile. They lay on their sides, facing each other. Their eyes looked at each other affectionately. Wifey, you're so beautiful. Gu Yanhao gazed at Song Wuyo. Hubby, you're so handsome. Song Wuyo giggled. It's such a romantic night. We should be doing something romantic. Gu Yanhao pursed his lips, looking puzzled. Song Wuyo asked, isn't it romantic now that we're looking at each other affectionately? She snuggled into his arms. I'm tired and sleepy. I just want to sleep now. Gu Yanhao hugged her and used his arm as her pillow. He said in a low voice, sleep. I'll hug you to sleep. Yes. Song Wuyo curled her lips and revealed a sweet smile. That night, she slept very soundly and sweetly. She even had a beautiful dream. She dreamed that she had given birth to a little princess. She was very beautiful. She was a combination of her and Gu Yanhao. She had inherited their good genes and was a beautiful, cute, and smart little princess. When she woke up, she told Gu Yanhao about her dream. Gu Yanhao hugged her and kissed her gently on the lips. He smiled and said, I heard that when you're pregnant, you think that you're giving birth to a daughter and a son. Song Wuyo asked, so this is a little princess? Gu Yanhao's lips curved into a smile. Yeah, I like little princesses. Song Wuyo continued, I even dreamed that you neglected me because you had a little princess. Gu Yanhao couldn't help but laugh. He cupped her face and stared at her. You're jealous of your daughter now? Song Wuyo pushed his hand away and said, yes, I'm jealous. You have to coax me. Go wash up and have breakfast downstairs. Gu Yanhao kissed her forehead. Cheng Wanduo carried 2 jugs of 100-year-old rice wine to the ranch to look for Migu. Ever since she was able to break into the ranch once, she had been able to enter and exit freely every time. Migu was on the rooftop of his bungalow, enjoying the cold wind. He stood there, gazing deeply at everything he could see, gazing into the distance. The wind today was especially strong and cold. When the wind blew on his face, it was as painful as a knife. His robes fluttered in the wind, making him look like a peerless god. Gu Yanhao had already told him that Song Wuyo did not want to be the president. And Gu Yanhao was not interested in letting him participate in the election. He knew that with the power behind Gu Yanhao, as long as he participated, he would definitely succeed. However, Song Wuyo, this silly girl, why did she refuse? Who would dare to bully her now that she was the empress and was standing in a high position? If he were Song Wuyo, he would rather be the king than the empress. Silly girl, really a silly girl. Was the pain she suffered in her previous life not enough? Why are you standing here on such a cold day? Cheng Wanduo appeared behind Migu. Migu ignored her. Cheng Wanduo stood beside him and handed him a jug of wine. Drink it. It's 100-year-old rice wine. It's pure and very strong. Migu tilted his head and glanced coldly at Cheng Wanduo. Do you think this is your home? You can come and go as you please. Cheng Wanduo smiled charmingly. It will be my home sooner or later. In this life, you can only marry me. Mu Axian sneered disdainfully. Overconfidence is a kind of illness. Cheng Wanduo brushed her big wavy hair that was messed up by the wind. As long as I can become your woman, even if I'm sick, it doesn't matter. Here, take it. One jug for you and one for me. Migu was annoyed when he thought about things. Now that he saw Cheng Wanduo, he was even more annoyed. Chapter 704. These emotions were written all over his face. He did not take the wine from Cheng Wanduo. Instead, his eyes were even colder. Looking at his expression, Cheng Wanduo was not in a good mood. She raised her arm and the wine pot shook. She said loudly, "Hey, are you going to drink or not? You're not afraid that I'll poison you, right? How can you be like this? You're not funny at all. I'm the only one who's interested in you. Other women definitely won't like you. I think it's better for you to go back and be an assassin." Her words made his ears itch. Cheng Wanduo smiled flirtatiously. "Alright, I'll kill the woman you like first." When Migu heard that, his pupils suddenly shrank. He stared dangerously at Cheng Wanduo. "You dare?" Cheng Wanduo sneered. "Why wouldn't I dare? If I can't have you, what's the difference between that and death?" When Migu heard that, he narrowed his eyes and looked at Cheng Wanduo coldly. "Are you serious?" Cheng Wanduo raised her chin and smiled enchantingly. "Do I look like I'm joking? For me, you'll do anything." "Of course. But I don't like you." So hurtful, Cheng Wanduo put a pot of wine on the ground, then opened her pot and drank a few mouthfuls. The moment he opened the lid, Migu smelled a mellow wine fragrance. He raised his eyebrows, and his gaze imperceptibly fell on the wine jug in Cheng Wanduo's hand. "If you want to drink, just drink. In front of me, still acting shy." Cheng Wanduo caught his strange look and smiled faintly. Migu sat down, picked up the wine pot, unscrewed the lid and drank. "Good wine." He smiled. "Not bad, pure rice wine." Cheng Wanduo also sat down and said with a smile, "Isn't it better than your horse milk wine?" Migu snorted. "Far from it. Your rice wine can't be compared with horse milk wine." "What about me?" Cheng Wanduo winked at him. "Other than Song Wuyo, am I comparable to any other woman? I've never been in contact with other women. I refuse to answer this question." Cheng Wanduo smiled. "I like this side of you." Migu coolly glanced at her and then sullenly drank his wine. "Hey, I heard that it's obvious that you'll be the president. Why aren't you happy?" Cheng Wanduo asked. "This is not what I want," Mu Axian said heavily. What you want is Song Wuyo. Ching Wanduo's tone was somewhat unpleasant. No woman would be in a good mood when the man she liked was thinking about another woman. Migu did not answer directly, but Ching Wanduo thought that he was admitting it. Ching Wanduo snorted coldly. Aren't you afraid that I'll be jealous and do something to hurt her? Migu's expression was cold as he said maliciously, if you dare to hurt her, I won't let you off. She's a married woman. Do you need to be like this? Migu looked at Ching Wanduo coldly with a hint of warning. Song Wuyo is Ah Ho's wife. Ah Ho and I are good brothers. If you dare to hurt my brother's woman, I'll hurt you too. This has nothing to do with whether I like Song Wuyo or not. Then will you be the president? This is my business. It's none of your business. You have no right to interfere. No right? Ching Wanduo found it funny. What do I have to do to have the right to interfere? Alright, I won't kill Song Wuyo, but I'll write a post online saying that Mr. Migu is peeking at his good brother's wife, Song Wuyo. Chapter 705. I will also state that Mr. Migu had given up the opportunity to run for president for Song Wuyo. What do you think people will think of Song Wuyo when this post is published? Would he think that she was a fickle woman? You don't mind. Men can be flirtatious, but what about women? It's different. Ching Wanduo, I think you are tired of living. Migu said. That's right. I don't care about being alive. I am fearless in the face of death. If I can't have you, I'll just take you down with me or Song Wuyo down with me. Ching Wanduo propped her head with her hand and smiled at Migu. Haven't you heard of the saying, if you can't have it, you will destroy it? Her curly hair was swept to one side. She tilted her head and looked at Migu with a smile. There was a hint of playfulness in her charm. Migu looked at her coldly and drank a few mouthfuls of wine. He believed she could do it. People like her were not afraid of death. Seeing him staring at him, Ching Wanduo flipped his curly hair and asked with a smile, Are you afraid of me? Who is not afraid of a female demon? Even a female demon will become a good woman one day. Let me ask you again. Are you serious? Ching Wanduo smiled. Of course. This is the first time I am attracted to a man. Migu curled his lips. I have a first girl complex. Ching Wanduo smiled. Coincidentally, I also have a virgin complex. I am still a virgin. Ching Wanduo winked at him. We are a match made in heaven. Me too. Migu raised his eyebrows. He did not believe her. You didn't give it to Ching Junhua. He had said that he had a first girl complex because he wanted her to back off. He did not expect her to be such a perfect girl. Migu, I am angry when you say this. Ching Junhua is nothing in my heart. Why should I give myself to him? Am I that kind of woman? Many female assassins are virgins because they are good at fighting. No man can take advantage of them. Ching Wanduo suddenly smiled. Do you want to check the goods now? Migu did not say anything. He pursed his lips and looked at Ching Wanduo quietly. Or rather, he was silently sizing up Ching Wanduo. She was tall and voluptuous. She had a head full of curly hair and was charming and enchanting. She was especially feminine. When she blinked, her eyes were bright like the stars in the night sky. Her facial features were beautiful. Although she wasn't the kind of beauty that could cause the downfall of a city, she was still considered good-looking. In particular, she had a coquettish charm, but she didn't have the smell of a prostitute. Her charm was different from those women who purposely seduced men and flaunted their charm. Her charm could be as noble or cold as it could be. From her appearance, she was indeed a good woman. But her character, do you want me to take off my clothes so you can see more clearly? Ching Wanduo saw him sizing her up and teased him. What attracts me has always been her character and not her appearance. Character. Ching Wanduo could not help but laugh. Like Song Wuo's character. She is so quiet. How depressing it is to live with her. Why do you keep mentioning Song Wuo? Magoo raised his eyebrows and looked at Ching Wanduo unhappily. Ching Wanduo smiled. I'm just afraid that you'll forget about her. Do you think it is good for them to be together? Chapter 706. Ching Wanduo, I declare once again that I have no romantic feelings for Song Wuo. Magoo looked at Ching Wanduo with bloodthirsty and cold eyes. He did not admit it because he did not want Ching Wanduo to do anything harmful to Song Wuo in the future. He thought about what Gu Yanhao said to him in private. Even if he did not think for himself, he had to think for the Mu family. Now, he was the only son left in the Mu family. He could not cut off the bloodline in his generation, right? He could not be like this, remaining single and dying alone, right? In this life, if he could not get Song Wuo, then he would wait for the next life. But in this life, no matter what, he had to find a woman to continue the Mu family's bloodline, right? Magoo's thinking was futile from his previous life. He felt that the bloodline was very important. Find a woman, Huang Ling's figure appeared in his mind. That innocent, pure, and straightforward girl. She should be more suitable for him than Ching Wanduo. He really did not have any feelings for Ching Wanduo. Instead, he was a little annoyed. Magoo looked at Ching Wanduo indifferently. This woman was very cute when she was playful. But, in her bones, there was an invisible charm and enchanting. Magoo raised his head and drank a few more mouthfuls of wine. Ching Wanduo saw that he did not say anything, so he did not say anything more and drank with him in silence. I will get married. After about 10 minutes, Magoo suddenly said. When Ching Wanduo heard this, she looked at him with wild joy. Her eyes were shining like stars, and she asked anxiously, With me? With me? Magoo looked at her indifferently. This depends on whether you have the ability to make me want to marry you. Ching Wanduo supported her head and looked at Magoo with a smile. I have confidence that your wife will be me. It can only be me. After that, Ching Wanduo winked at Magoo. I've been checking my body regularly. I'm very healthy and can bear children for you. And you can give birth to many more. Magoo said, You're not the only healthy woman in this world. You're really unromantic. You're like a block of wood. It's really hard for a man like you to find a wife. Ching Wanduo shook his head and muttered, I must be blind to be interested in a blockhead like you. Pervert, Gu Yanhao, Song Wuo, and the others appeared at the scene of choking in M City. Today, Korea's President Ching Jinshin was choked to death. The scene of the execution was in the wilderness 10 miles behind the prison. At this moment, a tall man was squatting in the middle of the wilderness. The man was wearing a black hat that covered his face, and his hands were handcuffed behind his back. Behind him stood a law enforcement man with a gun. The man carried a rifle with a solemn expression. Behind the man, there was a row of people. This row of people was very dignified. They were here today to witness Ching Jinshin's choking to death. Gu Yanhao, Song Wuo, Magoo, and all the leaders stood together. When the time was up, the executioner fired 3 shots at Ching Jinshin's head without hesitation. Paw, 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 the hat on Ching Jinshin's head was smashed, and blood spurted out. Ching Jinshin slowly fell to the ground, and the blood on his head soon dyed the ground red. There was a strong smell of blood in the air. When the bullet hit Qing Jinshin's head, no one at the scene blinked. This devil was finally dead. Song Wuyo pursed her lips and looked at the body on the ground calmly. There was always a cause and effect for everything. Qing Jinshin had done so many bad things in his life, and he got what he deserved today. Chapter 707. There was a solemn atmosphere at the scene. After Qing Jinshin was choked to death, his body was cremated according to the latest regulations. The soldier who carried out the execution went forward to check on Qing Jinshin. When he found that Qing Jinshin was no longer breathing, he turned around and gave instructions to everyone. Then, he took Qing Jinshin's body and prepared to send it to the crematorium. Walking out of the execution site, Song Wuyo looked up at the sky. The sky was blue. The sun shone warmly on the whole earth. Her gloomy mood was instantly warmed by the sun. After Gu Yanhao bid farewell to Migu and the leaders, he came to Song Wuyo. Seeing that she was intoxicated by the warmth of the sun, he smiled and asked, "Do you want to go home directly or go for a walk?" Song Wuyo turned her head and looked at him. "Aren't you going to the Dragon Palace with them to discuss the presidential election?" Gu Yanhao raised his hand and put it around her shoulder. "I'm just a businessman. Why should I go back to the Dragon Palace?" Song Wuyo glanced at Migu. Before Migu got into the car, he happened to look at her. Their eyes met in the air. Song Wuyo smiled at him gently. Migu felt that her smile was enough. Migu also smiled at her. Then, he opened the car door and got into the car. His car did not start immediately. He put his hands on the steering wheel, deep in thought. Perhaps he would be able to protect her better if he became the king and was strong enough. The prosperity of the country was also a form of protection. Migu decided to participate in the election. Song Wuyo looked at Gu Yanhao and asked. Gu Yanhao nodded. Yes, he agreed. When will he officially take office? Spring Festival. If Migu becomes the king, he will be very busy in the future. Gu Yanhao smiled and said, I'll be very busy even if I'm not the king. Honey, let's go back. I want to go for a walk. Okay, where do you want to go? Let's go to the beach. Let's enjoy the seaside. Okay. Gu Yanhao pulled her towards his car. After the two of them got into the car slowly turned around and left. When Migu saw Gu Yanhao's car leave, he started the car. Gu Yanhao held Song Wuyo's hand and walked leisurely on the beach. With the other hand, they carried their shoes. The waves floated over from time to time, hitting their ankles. There were many people swimming in the swimming area in the distance. Song Wuyo looked over and said with a smile, It's so cold, but there are still so many people swimming. Silly girl, it's very exciting to swim in the cold. Gu Yanhao laughed. I think so too. Song Wuyo lowered her head and looked at her bare feet. If I step on the beach like this, I won't feel cold even when the seawater hits me. With a warm heart, his body wouldn't be so cold anymore. Do you want me to carry you? Gu Yanhao lowered his head and looked at her feet. Song Wuyo smiled and said, Okay. As soon as she finished speaking, Gu Yanhao went forward and bent down in front of her. Song Wuyo looked at the man's broad back and giggled. Then, she leaned on him. Am I heavy? Song Wuyo asked with a smile. She hooked her arms around his neck and waved the shoes in front of his eyes. Gu Yanhao raised his eyebrows and said, Throw the shoes away. She was wearing leather sandals. They were wet and had not been worn for long. Why? Song Wuyo was surprised. She asked him if she was heavy, but he asked her to throw the shoes away. Was she very heavy? Throw the shoes away and be lighter. They're wet. They won't last long. I'll buy you a limited edition pair later. Chapter 708. How am I going to walk if you throw it away? I'll carry you. You'll get tired if I carry you for a long time. I won't. You've only worn the shoes twice. It's a pity to throw them away. Moreover, he had specially bought them for her. They were a limited edition and very expensive Hermes brand for pregnant women. Gu Yanhao saw a young girl walking over from the front. She was barefoot and carrying a pair of slippers. Looking at her expression, she must have come to the beach to relax because something unhappy had happened to her. Gu Yanhao's gaze fell on the other party's feet. Her feet looked about the same size as Song Wuyo's feet. Gu Yanhao carried Song Wuyo and walked over to the girl. The man was handsome and the woman was beautiful. The man was carrying the woman, so the girl had long noticed them. When they got closer and the girl saw them clearly, a look of shock flashed past her eyes. Gu Yanhao and Song Wuyo. The girl was very envious of Song Wuyo. She was beautiful and had a husband who loved her so much. The girl was heartbroken. Seeing people in pairs hurt her heart. Seeing Gu Yanhao walk past her, the girl subconsciously moved inwards to make way. Unexpectedly, when she moved inwards, Gu Yanhao also moved inwards. He even looked at her and said, "Excuse me." The girl suddenly felt like she was in a dream. She looked at Gu Yanhao in shock and stuttered, Is something wrong? Do you need shoes? They're from Hermes." When the girl heard this, she felt even more like she was in a dream. As a worker, she couldn't even bear to wear expensive shoes. How could she bear to buy shoes from a brand like Hermes? Song Wuyo didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Gu Yanhao's behavior. She handed the shoes to the girl and said with a smile, "You've only worn them twice. Do you want them?" The girl looked at Song Wuyo and was stunned when she saw her smile. Seeing Song Wuyo up close, she felt that she was even prettier than she had seen on television. The girl took the shoes in a daze. Thank you." The moment she took the shoes, the girl felt as if a huge pie had fallen from the sky and she had caught it. Without the shoes dangling in front of him, Gu Yanhao felt much better. "You're very pretty." "Don't worry," Gu Yanhao said to the girl. While the girl was petrified, he carried Song Wuyo on his back and walked forward step by step, leaving behind footprints. With the rush of the flowing sea, his footprints disappeared. The girl came back to her senses and turned around abruptly, looking at their figures. Was she dreaming? Who did she meet? Gu Yanhao and Song Wuyo. Song Wuyo gave her a pair of designer shoes that she had only worn twice. Gu Yanhao even praised her for her beauty. She had really seen a ghost. How could she encounter such a thing? Who said that Gu Yanhao was cold and aloof? He was very close to the people. The girl recalled his words and suddenly smiled. Even young Master Gu said that she was beautiful. That damned boyfriend wanted to break up with her. Let him be her ex. Is there sugar in your mouth? Song Wuyo touched Gu Yanhao's Adam's apple gently with one hand and pretended to be jealous. You dare to say that another woman is beautiful in front of me? She touched his Adam's apple, making him feel itchy all over. But he liked this feeling very much. I'm telling the truth. That girl is quite pretty. And then, didn't you notice that she looked sad? She must have fallen out of love. And then, I said that she was beautiful and told her to be more confident and not be sad because of a breakup. Aren't you afraid that she likes you? Gu Yanhao smiled elegantly. There are many women who like me. Chapter 709. Gu Yanhao carried Song Wuyo on his back and walked around the beach for a long time. It wasn't until Song Wuyo said that she was hungry that he left the beach and returned to the manor. In the manor, Sister Song had prepared a table full of sumptuous dishes. They even had a picnic outside the villa. Lu Jiming, Ban Jining, Su Jing, Ade, and the others were waiting for Gu Yanhao and Song Wuyo to come back. On the rectangular table, there were all kinds of dishes. There were brandy, red wine, beer. Song Wuyo came to the table in a pair of furry shoes and looked at the table full of dishes. "Celebrate?" she asked with a smile. Lu Jiming said, "That bad guy Qing Jinshin is finally dead. We have to celebrate." Su Jing said, "Miss, I asked Sister Song to specially make a few dishes that you like. You can't drink, so we can use soup to replace wine. Let's drink to our heart's content." "Okay." Song Wuyo sat down gracefully. Gu Yanhao sat beside her and moved the dishes that were suitable for her to eat and that she liked to eat in front of her. Seeing that Gu Yanhao was so concerned about Song Wuyo, Lu Jiming and Su Jing looked at each other and smiled. It was really eye-catching. Before eating, they toasted first. They all took a small sip and then started to eat. Ban Jianing, on the other hand, raised his head and drank a full glass of red wine. After drinking one glass, he poured another glass. His whole person exuded a very depressed mood. "Jianing, are you unhappy?" Song Wuyo asked. "No." Ban Jianing glanced at Song Wuyo. "Qing Jinshin is dead. Of course I'm happy." Song Wuyo couldn't help but laugh. "Is this how you act happy?" "I'm very happy, but when I think of Mushin, I'm unhappy again." That child Mushin, give her some time," Song Wuyo said. Ban Jianing pouted unhappily. "It doesn't matter if she hates me, but why does she have to be with Qing Junhua? Qing Junhua is Mushin's first love. If Qing Junhua can give Mushin happiness, it wouldn't be bad for them to be together," Gu Yanhao said. When Ban Jianing heard this, he angrily glared at Gu Yanhao. "Brother-in-law, I hate you." Gu Yanhao raised his eyebrows and looked deeply at Ban Jianing. "Am I wrong?" Although the Qing family had declined, Qing Jianpain was no longer a general. However, Qing Junhua and Qing Junshan still had their previous jobs. "With income, I can be self-reliant." Ban Jianing, as for you, you don't have a job. In Mushin's heart, she always felt that there was something wrong with your intelligence and that it wasn't safe to follow you. Ban Jianing angrily poured water for himself and said, "I want to work." "What can you do?" "I won't do anything. You should study further first." Ban Jianing was stunned. "Further studies?" "Gu Yanhao, if you want to be an official, I'll let Migu guide you in your studies. If you want to be an elite in the business world like me, I'll arrange for you to study." Ban Jianing looked at Gu Yanhao faintly. "I want to be like you." He would never forget that the Ban family had been harmed. He didn't want to be an official. He just wanted to be an ordinary businessman. "Okay, I just bought a media company in B City. I'll train you to be the CEO of this company. How about that?" "Okay." Ban Jianing nodded. "Is Jianing going to live in B City?" Song Wuyo asked. They were now in the south, while B City was in the north. Although they were in the same country, the distance between them was like heaven and earth. "Don't worry. With me around, his quality of life won't deteriorate," Gu Yanhao said. Song Wuyo thought for a while. "Okay, Jianing has grown up. It's time for him to learn to be independent." Chapter 710. "Miss, look." Su Jing, who was eating quietly, suddenly exclaimed. She handed the phone to Song Woo-yo and smiled. You and young Master Gu are in the headlines. Ah. Song Woo-yo took the phone and looked at it. It was a photo of Gu Yenhao piggybacking her at the beach. The content of the report was all praising Gu Yenhao and how handsome he was. It also said that Gu Yenhao was not a cold man and was very approachable. When he saw a girl who was heartbroken, he even took the initiative to comfort her and enlighten her. They were very envious of Song Woo-yo for being able to have such a good husband like Gu Yenhao. The attached photo was very clear. Song Woo-yo had a sweet smile on her face. The corners of Gu Yenhao's lips curled up. He looked very happy with her piggybacking him. As soon as this report was released, it was immediately pinned to the top and became the headline. Song Woo-yo smiled helplessly. She was now a public figure and was even more popular than a celebrity. She returned Su Jing to Su Jing and said, "How can this make you so excited?" Su Jing smiled and said, "The whole report is saying how good you and young Master Gu are. Of course I'm happy." Su Jing was also very envious of Song Woo-yo. "I really hope that a warm man will appear by my side." Lu Jiming had just peeled a lobster for her and placed it in her bowl. When he heard her words, he immediately said, "I'm the warm man by your side." When Su Jing heard this, her cheeks suddenly turned red. Lu Jiming looked at Su Jing seriously. "I really want to be the warm man by your side. Since young Master Gu and Mrs. Gu are both here today, why don't we ask them to be our witnesses?" Gu Yenhao glanced at Lu Jiming coldly. "Propose." When Su Jing heard about the proposal, her face turned even redder. Song Woo-yo clapped her hands and agreed with Gu Yenhao's words. "Good proposal. Su Jing, say yes to Lu Jiming." "No, I'm not proposing." Lu Jiming glanced at Gu Yenhao and Song Woo-yo and smiled awkwardly. "I want you to be our witnesses. I want to pursue Su Jing." You're not officially together yet." Song Woo-yo teased. Su Jing glared at Lu Jiming awkwardly. "You don't have to chase after her. Just carry her back to the room and press her down on the bed. Once she becomes your woman, she will naturally stick to you," Gu Yenhao said. When Su Jing heard this, her face turned red. She lowered her head and did not dare to look at them. "This works." Lu Jiming's mouth twitched. However, after thinking about it, young Master Gu was also an experienced person. What he said should make sense. He winked at Su Jing and said with a smile, "Come to my room later." "Lu Jiming, you're courting death." Su Jing flew into a rage out of humiliation. She suddenly pulled Lu Jiming's ear. Lu Jiming grimaced in pain. "Ouch, ouch, it hurts so much." "Su Jing, be gentler. It hurts so much." Seeing them fooling around, Song Woo-yo felt that this scene was very heartwarming and full of joy. She smiled very happily. Because of this, she also hoped that Su Jing and Lu Jiming would be together. Ban Jianing looked up and glanced at them. Then, he looked at Gu Yenhao. Could it really work? After pressing a woman down on the bed, would she cling to him in the future? But, Muxin had once been pregnant with Qing Junguo's child and had been pressed down on the bed by Qing Junguo long ago. That night, they kissed at the door. Qing Junguo must have pressed Muxin down on the bed again. Sighed, when he thought about how Muxin would cling to Qing Junguo in the future, Ban Jianing's heart cracked. Huang Ling sat in front of the bar counter and scrolled through her phone. She was working the day shift now. During the day, there were very few people who went to the bar to drink. Hence, she was very free and was scrolling through her phone to kill time. The headlines for the past 2 days were not about Qing Jinxin being shot to death, nor was it about Migu running for president. Instead, It was about Gu Yanhao memorizing Song Wuyo on the beach. In an instant, Gu Yanhao had become the nation's recognized warm man. Chapter 711. Huang Ling stared at the photos in a daze. Gu Yanhao reciting Song Wuyo, these were what she had once longed for. Now, it had come true. She was still reciting Song Wuyo. But she couldn't understand how it felt. However, looking at the sweet smile on Song Wuyo's face, it must feel very blissful. Hey, 24 red wines. Suddenly, a female voice woke up Huang Ling from her daze. Huang Ling put away her phone and looked up. She was stunned. It was them. Li Xinxin and Qing Wan duo. Ever since she started working the day shift, she rarely saw them drinking. They liked to drink at night. Why were they drinking in the middle of the day today? Although Huang Ling didn't like Li Xinxin and Qing Wan duo, she still had to maintain a professional smile on her face. She brought 24 red wines and placed them in front of them. She smiled and said, "Please enjoy." Li Xinxin picked up a bottle of red wine and opened the lid with her mouth. Her actions weren't crude. Huang Ling secretly watched from the side. This woman exuded a cold aura from head to toe. After opening one bottle, she opened another bottle and handed it to Qing Wanduo, who was sitting beside her. Qing Wanduo supported his head with one hand and held the wine bottle with the other. He looked at Li Xinxin with a charming expression. "Is it okay to be unhappy all day? K-Nation is going to have a change of dynasty," Li Xinxin said gloomily. "Pfft." Qing Wanduo burst out laughing. "You're making it sound so serious. You even used the words change of dynasty." Li Xinxin was very dissatisfied with Qing Wanduo's attitude. She looked coldly at Qing Wanduo. "You've been smiling a lot these 2 days." Qing Wanduo blinked and smiled. "My man likes my smile." Li Xinxin's gaze turned even colder. "Stop dreaming. When did he become your man?" "One day, I'll become one. I hope I don't have to wait until I'm 70 or 80 years old. It's not bad that we can still be together in our 70s and 80s. Drink up. The change of dynasty in K country has nothing to do with you, right?" Qing Wanduo asked. "Who said there isn't? If Mu Axayan or Gu Yanhao becomes the president, I won't be able to be as unscrupulous in K country as before. You can go back to your own country and continue to do whatever you want. Is there a Gu Yanhao in my country? Are you really in love?" Qing Wanduo asked. "Didn't you fall in love with Migu?" Li Xinxin looked at Qing Wanduo with disdain. Qing Wanduo smiled. "That's true, but I won't be as unscrupulous as before. I want to listen to him." Li Xinxin looked at Qing Wanduo. "If you change, Migu will like you. But if I change, Gu Yanhao won't like me." That was true. Qing Wanduo took a sip of wine. For the past 2 days, the screen has been dominated by photos of him reciting Song Wuyo. Li Xinxin's eyes flashed viciously. When will this Song Wuyo die? When Huang Ling heard this, she felt terrible. Oh my god, one of them liked Gu Yanhao, and the other liked Migu. No. Huang Ling secretly glanced at Li Xinxin. This woman looked vicious. Would Gu Yanhao like her? Damn woman, did she still want Song Wuyo to die? Qing Wanduo only smiled, then looked at Huang Ling. "Give us some nuts." Huang Ling got up. Okay. Soon, Huang Ling brought them a plate of nuts. When she brought the nuts over, she glanced at Li Xinxin, but she didn't know that the plate of nuts hit the bottle of wine that Li Xinxin had opened. Clang! The wine poured out of the bottle and soon wet Li Xinxin's sleeves. Li Xinxin's face suddenly turned cold and she glared at Huang Ling. Do you want to die? Chapter 7:12. The woman's gaze was so terrifying that Huang Ling shuddered in fright. Huang Ling stared blankly at Li Xinxin. Would Haozi like such a fierce and violent woman? Haozi didn't even like her arrogant personality in the past. What he liked was the current Song Wuyo. Disdain flitted across Huang Ling's face at that thought. Li Xinxin had always stood at the peak of life, and she was also the princess of a country. Seeing that Huang Ling didn't apologize after wetting her sleeve and was even staring at her rudely, Li Xinxin was furious. She grabbed a wine bottle and threw it at Huang Ling. Xinxin, what are you duo Qing Wanduo hurriedly stopped Li Xinxin when he saw this. Li Xinxin glared at Huang Ling viciously. This woman seems to hate me. Huang Ling was stunned by Li Xinxin's attempt to smash her with a wine bottle. She stood there and stared blankly at Li Xinxin. Qing Wanduo glanced at her and couldn't help but laugh. I couldn't tell that she hated you, but I saw that you scared her. Because of Qing Wanduo's stop, Li Xinxin reluctantly put down the wine bottle. She stared coldly at Huang Ling. For some reason, the more she looked at Huang Ling, the more uncomfortable Li Xinxin felt. It was as if Huang Ling was her natural enemy. Hurry up and get lost. Li Xinxin glared viciously at Huang Ling. Get out of my sight right now, or I'll smash your head. I'm sorry. Huang Ling's heart gave a violent shudder. She was a sensible person. Since she had wet Li Xinxin's sleeve, she should apologize to her. I'm really sorry. Huang Ling immediately turned around and brought them 2 glasses of fruit-flavored wine that the bartender had made. Looking at Qing Wanduo and Li Xinxin with a mischievous smile, Huang Ling's gaze finally stopped on Li Xinxin's face as she smiled. I'm sorry that I accidentally wet your sleeve. These 2 glasses are the latest fruit wine made by my bartender. I'll treat you to it. If you like it, remember to ask him to make it the next time you come. Huang Ling pointed at the bartender next to her. The bartender was very handsome and tall, like a popular male celebrity. Hearing Huang Ling's words, the bartender nodded and smiled at Qing Wanduo and Li Xinxin. He was very polite and had a warm smile. Li Xinxin glanced at the bartender and then glanced at Huang Ling. Huang Ling smiled brightly at her. Li Xinxin's eyes turned cold. Get lost. Huang Ling nodded and bowed. Okay, I'll leave now. Huang Ling left. The bar counter was circular. She walked to the other side where Qing Wanduo and Li Xinxin couldn't see and sat down. Huang Ling patted her chest. Oh my God, that woman was too scary. They liked to come here to drink, and she had to work here. Otherwise, she wouldn't have apologized to them and even smiled cheekily and bowed. Huang Ling knew that if she didn't apologize this time, the woman who wanted to throw a wine bottle at her would definitely make things difficult for her next time. Looking at that woman, she was someone with skills. Huang Ling couldn't afford to offend her. Huang Ling took out her phone. She really wanted to tell Song Wuyo what had just happened. But thinking that it was noon, Gu Yanhao should be having lunch with her. She dismissed this idea. Forget it. It was better not to disturb them too often. She wanted to completely forget about Gu Yanhao. The best way to forget was to not see him and not think about him. As time passed, the memories would fade. Beep beep, the phone screen lit up. Huang Ling looked down and saw that it was a WeChat message from Migu. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.